So hello everyone. So let me check my live. Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Nick, and today we'll be talking about SQL in UI Bakery and how to build interfaces using SQL queries in UI Bakery. How to modify your data, how to read your data, and do other stuff. So let's start building our app. So first of all, let me create a project. Okay, I'll use a blank template for it. Okay, here in UI Bakery, I'll start with connecting data source to my project. So I'm going to the data sources, pressing connect button, and let me connect my SQL database. So it's my customers database. I need to enter credentials, my host, username, password, and then database name. Checking the connection, it works, so I can connect my database. Okay, cool. So here I have my customers table and orders table, and we will work with two tables today, these two tables. Okay, so let's go back to the builder. Here, first of all, I want to load data from my data source, okay? So to do so, I'm creating an action that will be a SQL query action. It will just select everything from the customers table. Like we'll call it customers. Then I'll run the detection. Take a look here. All the data from my customers table is loaded inside the UI Bakery. Okay, now let's display this data on the screen. So to do so, I'm just adding a table here, and all the data is loaded inside this table. Okay, I'll add a small heading that will be customers. Okay, great. The next step I want to show you is how to use a more complex SQL queries in UI Bakery. So it will be customers, orders, and it will be a SQL query again. So here I have a prepared query. Let me explain what it does. So here in this SQL query, I'm selecting everything from the customers table and joining this table with the orders table via customer number. Okay, and then I'm grouping everything, every lines of the result by the customer name. And finally, we'll have a data set with a customer name, with the customer city, with the customer credit limit, and with the number of orders this customer did. Okay, so let me run this action and take a look at the result. And yeah, we've got the group data from the two tables from my SQL database. Okay, so let me display this data on the screen. So I'm adding one more table here. It's a customers orders table. I'll add a heading. Just customers orders, and I'll make it a bit bigger just to fit all the rows. Okay, great. Cool. So now we have a customers orders table. That's a table that aggregates data from two different tables in my MySQL database. Now let's take a look at how to add filtering to this table. So for instance, I want to add an ability for my users to search for the customer by the customer name. So I'm adding an inputs component here. Let's say it will be enter customer name. So these input fields will be customer name. And each time the user types something here in this input field, will trigger the customer's order action. Okay, and now when this action will be triggered, it will reload the data in the customer's orders table. So we ought to add one more line in the SQL query to perform actual filtering. So in SQL, we are using having name like, we'll use a like operator, and here we'll use UI customer name value. Okay, great. So now let's check how does it work. So for instance, here I have Gene. Let's search for Gene here. Okay, I found 2 genes. Okay, maybe I have Peter. Okay, great, the search works. So cool, now you can see that we can use SQL in UI Bakery to perform filtering operations. So we can build a search functionality. Okay, cool. One more thing I want to add here for the SQL query is the ordering functionality, since it's a pretty common functionality in most of the applications. So to do so, first of all, add a select box here. We'll be building an ordering by the orders count. So we'll be able to find the users with most orders and with the least orders. Okay, so when I have a select component here, add a small configuration. So I'll add 2 options that will display ascending order and a descending order. And by default, we'll have an ascending order. Okay, so now this select box has 2 different ordering options. Okay, so to make it work, let's go to the triggers, call it order by, and on each change of this select box, we'll again call a customer's orders action. So it will be called and reload the data in the customer's orders. And to make it work, I'd add one more line here in the SQL query. So it will be order by, we'll order by orders count, as it's called here. And we'll order by value. So we are referencing to the value of this select box that allows us to put it here inside an appropriate ordering order. Okay, so let's take a look at how does it work. So here now we have a descending. Let me turn it into ascending. Data is reloaded, and now our users, our customers, are ordered by orders count. Okay, now let's turn it into the descending order. And yep, now we have all the customers into the table sorted by the orders count. Let's get it back. Cool. Now we know how to load the data from the database, how to perform more complex queries using joins operators, grouping, filtering, and ordering. Now I want to add another functionality here. I want to add a functionality that will allow us to modify the users in the users table. Okay, so to do so, I'm going to the customers table, going to the appearance tab and turning on edit action. And as you can see here, these beautiful paths are appeared. When I'm pressing on it, this row turns into the edit row, so I can edit any field here. But I just want to add, for instance, customer name editing functionality. So to do so, first of all, add one more action that will be a SQL action, and it will be update customer name action. And then here, inside the query field, I want to add that we'll be updating customers. I'll set customers, oh, add a name here. Name, yep, customer name. And we will take this new data, new customer name, from the customers table, from the edited row, from the new data, from the edited row, and we'll take a customer name here. Okay, but we gotta set this new customer name for the specific customer for the edited customer. So I'm going to the customers, customer number, where customer number equals to the customers table, edited row, new data, and customer number is here. So as you can see, I've created a query that updates the customers table and sets a new customer number to the user which we are updating in the table. So the last thing we need to do here is to map this action to the onEdit trigger of the customers table. So it will be executed each time I'm pressing on this check mark. So let's take a look at how does it work. For instance, I want to edit this customer name. So I'm pressing the edit button, going here, I want to call it Nick, and pressing on the check mark, loading, and boom, everything is updated. Let's get it back to the Dmitry, and it works. Okay, cool. So now we know how to update customers and update some entities into the MySQL database using SQL queries. I bet it's great. But as you can see here, all this stuff requires your SQL knowledge, and it might be a bit tricky, especially in cases when you need to add big queries with like grouping, joining, filtering, and ordering, and other stuff. And I can say that you can do almost the same stuff in UI Bakery, but without SQL queries. So we have a specific UI to perform almost the same operations. Let me show you how does it work. So first of all, I'm going to the Pages tab. So I'll add one more page, like let's say it will be Home without SQL. So I'm adding a new page here. We'll add all the stuff on this page. So first of all, let's load customers table from the SQL database without using SQL. To do so, I'm creating a new action and using a load table action here. So it just asks me to enter my database and choose the table I want to load data from. So I'm choosing my customers table. Let's say it will be customers without SQL. So now I can run the action, take a look at the result, and it works. So all the data is loaded from my database. Okay, cool. Let's add one more table here. Okay, and again, all the data is inside our cool table. So all the customers are on the screen. I'll make it a bit bigger. So now heading to indicate we're talking about customers, and great. So as you can see, we can load the data from the database even without SQL. Okay, but what if I want to add a filtering operation here? Let's say I want to do almost the same as we did at the previous stages. So I'm adding an input component here. It will be again under customer name. So we'll be searching for customer by its name. And I want to add a filter here in the load table action. So I'm just searching for the customer by the customer name. I'm using a like operator to perform not strict comparison. As you can see, we can do other comparisons here. And we are comparing this customer name with the an input value. It will be the input component for the search. Okay, and now the last thing I want to add here is to trigger this load customers without SQL action on each change of the customer enter customer name field. So I'm choosing this section in onChange trigger. Let's take a look at how does it work. So again, as I remember, we had Gene. So Where's my gene? And referencing to the customer name. Okay, let's search. So here we have a Dmitry. Let's search for the Dmitry. Okay, yeah, it works. And we can take a look at some other Ds like Ben. Yeah, search works. Everything's great here. And the last stuff I'm going to show you that we can implement even without SQL is updating data in our tables. So first of all, let's create an update customer action. So update customer without SQL. And now I'll use an update row action. So as you can see here, we have lots of actions to perform most of the common operations like create rows in tables, update rows, delete rows, load the whole table. And now I'm using the update row action. Again, choosing the data source, it's my MySQL database. Choosing the resource, it's my customers table. And then I'd add a bit of configuration here. So first of all, we ought to decide which row in the table will be updated. So it will search for it via the customer number. And again, we'll reference to our customers table. Customers. How does it code here? No, let's code a customer table number 2. Okay, table 2, edited row, new data. Okay, so I'm referencing the customer, number. Customer number of the edited customer in the customers table. And I'll change a customer name. I'll just copy paste it. So I will be changing a customer name that will be changed from this customers table. Okay, easy as that. And the last thing we had to add here is to ask our table to add an edit UI and also trigger this update customer without SQL action each time we are doing an edit inside the table. So, okay, I'm pressing edit here. Let's make this customer nick again. Press enter and boom, is successfully updated. Okay, cool. Frankly speaking, that's it that I wanted to show you, but let's revise what we did. So first of all, I want to tell you that we can do almost everything using UI Bakery and SQL. So we can perform simple queries and just load data from the MySQL and other SQL databases. We can create a complex queries that just selects data from multiple tables, group them, search across them, and order them, and do other stuff. Also, we can create update operations and change the data right inside the database. And finally, if you don't know SQL or just want to save your time and make something faster, you can use our additional UI that allows you to perform some operations without using SQL, but in really faster way. Okay, so frankly speaking, that's it. Now it will be glad to hear your questions. Okay, I don't have any questions in my chat in webinar room. Okay, so glad to be here. Glad that lots of you are here now listening for that. Thank you for your time, dudes. I hope this was really helpful to you and that this webinar will help you to start building your applications using SQL and UI Bakery. So thank you everybody again, and bye.